Welcome to the Joy of Cruising podcast with your host, award-winning author Paul C. Thornton, a weekly conversation with the amazing cruisers featured in the Joy of Cruising trilogy, comprised of The Joy of Cruising, Cruising Interrupted, and new release, The Joy of Cruising Again. Each book is a compilation of features about cruisers and cruise and travel personalities from around the world. It's the next best thing to cruising, hearing about cruising from the unique and diverse perspectives of Paul's amazing guests.
Hello, passionate cruisers. This is Paul. I am delighted to welcome this week on the Joy of Cruising podcast, Roland and Emma, a couple I met by happenstance and who immediately became travel role models of mine. I was browsing Melanin at Sea, the influential 87,000 member, I guess now 88,000 member Facebook affinity group created by friends of the show and global cruise personalities A Rich and Jazzy Life. Roland, a content creator and professional DJ, and he longs to DJ on a cruise ship in some capacity, posted about what sounded like a wonderful bucket list itinerary. A 28-day port-intensive cruise on Princess Cruises' Enchanted Princess, one of the line's newest and largest ships, bracketed by stays in two great cities. 7 days in Barcelona before embarkation, and 5 days in Rome after debarkation. This sounded like a dream trip to me, and as I have done before, I wanted to talk to Roland and Emma on the podcast so that I and the listeners could experience their trip vicariously through them. So I reached out to them, and I'm glad they agreed to join the Joy of Cruising podcast. I have posted an image of the detailed itinerary on the Joy of Cruising podcast Facebook group and Instagram account. It's too comprehensive to cover here, but Roland and Emma will take us through the highlights of the 7 countries they visited: Spain, UK, France, Italy, Greece, Turkey, and Montenegro. Welcome, Roland and Emma, to the Joy of Cruising podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So how you both doing?
Doing good.
Doing well. No complaints.
No complaints. Hey, stop copying me.
Before we discuss your European bucket list adventure, tell our listeners about yourselves in general, where you're from, where you live, professional background, anything you would like to share.
Ladies first.
So I'm originally from Puerto Rico. We live in Tampa, Florida. Boricuas out there. Hey, y'all. I'm ex-military, retired. I worked as a teacher for 13 years. Just stopped working to travel full time, and I'm visually impaired.
I was born and raised here in Tampa. Had a basketball scholarship, went out to Texas, played ball for a little while, became a teacher, been teaching, this is my 30th year. That's pretty much me, other than DJing when I can.
Let's start talking, getting some background on your cruising. I was going to ask you, are you big cruisers? But I think I know the answer to that, because tomorrow you're headed out to, if I have it right, Brazil?
Yes.
And the whole reason that we're getting together is to talk about your fantastic European trip. So instead of saying, are you big cruisers, let me just say, talk about your cruising background.
Well, we both love cruising. She probably loved cruising way before me, because prior to her, I had only cruised one time. So once we got together and she was cruising, I was already hooked on it. But now I can live on a cruise ship if I could.
So I started cruising when I was 19 in the military. I don't know if anybody remembers those 2-day, $129 cruising. I just got hooked, and I always did at least 4 cruises a year. Now it's looking like 8, 9, 10 a year.
Right.
But that has been since I retired, to be completely honest.
So talk about that first cruise at 19. What ship was it on? And you already said you got hooked right away, but talk about your first impressions.
Well, first I have to preface with saying cruising has changed a lot since my first cruise. However, it was a Royal Caribbean. It was a 2-day from Spain, Barcelona. It was going to a little island and coming back. I was actually stationed out there in the military, and we were just like, let's get out, let's go somewhere. And we were hooked. The entertainment, the shows, the food, the displays. I mean, there's nowhere to go wrong. Everything is there. You know, as a soldier, you're always concerned about stature and guards, and you know, we can't drink and be driving, make sure we're not making a fool of ourselves. So everything was there for us. So it was kind of very, 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 very good for us. It was a really good experience.
Now, you said it was Royal Caribbean. Do you remember the ship?
I do not.
Okay.
Well, let me say she probably don't remember the ship because she's about 100, about 120 cruises in. That's how many cruises she's been on.
Wow. So Roland.
I thought he was gonna say, hold on. I thought he was gonna say because I'm old. I was gonna say he went to school with Jesus. So,
Roland, talk about your first cruise.
My first cruise was in 1997. It was a honeymoon gift from my first wife's mom. It was I believe it was, I want to say Carnival Paradise, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I loved it. I loved being out on the water, just being to sit on top of the deck and just look out and just see water and just enjoy the sounds. No worries.
So you got hooked right away as well?
Yeah. I was hooked right away.
I'm keeping sort of a running informal tally because I maintain that 9 out of 10 get hooked on their first cruise. So say something about your most recent cruises, say post restart, other than the one that I call the European bucket list adventure. What are some of your recent cruises?
So since COVID, we have been on a couple carnivals, a couple Royal Caribbean. We started exploring Princess Cruise, and we adventured into MSC, which we had never cruised MSC. So we just did one last spring break.
Which MSC did you do?
MSC Grandiosa. For me, it was very different, but you know, I love adventure, so anything different to me is like a fresh of breath air. Most of the guests were European, so of course their culture is a little bit different than ours. Sometimes even their mannerisms can be different.
A lot of them are rude.
The shows were different because most of them were non-verbal, because if they had to do verbal shows, it would be in 7-8 different languages. So it was a different experience. The ship was beautiful. There is absolutely no complaint there. The cleanliness was amazing. The food, I would compare it to, you know, and it was a little different, I gotta say, but it wasn't bad difference. It was just an adjustment.
They had our favorite port there, though.
Oh yes,
Malta. Malta was our favorite port.
Yes, that was our favorite port.
Yeah, they're trying to Americanize. I remember when I first booked them quite some time ago, I heard they didn't have comedians because comedians don't translate well overseas. Right. You know, in Italy and wherever they're based. But now they have comedians, so they are
only in the U.S.
In the U.S. So they're trying to adapt to the U.S. market. Now you said you went on Carnival a couple of times post pandemic. What ships did you go on Carnival? I've been on one Carnival since
COVID. It was just the Horizon. Yeah, that's all I have. I'm looking at the app right now. Carnival Horizon.
Okay. Yeah, I went on Mardi Gras.
We went on the Mardi Gras this year. You don't have it there. You missed it.
Oh,
see,
my bad.
I'm right as always. The wife is always right.
So you did go on Mardi Gras.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you ride the roller coaster?
We couldn't. We waited till we got to the ship and there was no more spaces. Actually, we did get on a space, but then something happened that day.
Yeah, it was windy, so they canceled our reservation.
Yeah.
So as much as you all cruise, that must have been tough when we had the lockdown.
Oh, that was horrible. That was.
How'd you spend your time? You're in Florida, right?
Tampa.
I actually was living in Florida at that time. I was on the west side. Tampa's on the west side too. I was in Fort Myers.
Okay, yeah, about a couple hours away.
Yeah. So how'd you spend your time?
During the pandemic, when they did the closure, and that's when we found out we were out there, we came home and boom, school was closed, we were closed. And it was tough because we're adventure and we love adventure and we love traveling. So those couple of months were tough. And then when other countries opened before us, we were like,
We left.
We left. We were like, okay, we gotta take our chances, be safe, and go travel. So we went to Mexico, and there was another place we went to. I can't remember right now. So, and the funny part was that at that time, their COVID rules were better than in the US. Like you had to clean your feet in water and then, clean them in this pad, and you had to take your temperature already, which they didn't have it in the US. And you had to clean your hands, and only a couple of people can come at a time. But that wasn't happening here until later on. So, we did travel.
They were ahead of the curve in keeping
yeah.
people safe because they wanted people to still visit if they could.
So what was your first cruise back after the restart?
So we had a Oasis of the Seas January of 2021 and Independence of the Seas in December of 2021. Oh, yeah. Well, but that was in 2022 February. Yeah, according to my app, my trusty app.
So how did it feel being back on a ship? Was it emotional or just you had already traveled, so I guess it wasn't as bad for you as it was for me. I was like climbing the walls.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we were climbing the walls. I mean, but again, we had left before then.
It wasn't emotional for me. I was just glad to be back on a boat. I was just happy.
It was different. It was empty. There was not a lot of people.
Right.
So let's talk about your European bucket list adventure. So what motivated you to put together such a grand journey?
Before you start, I don't have nothing to do with putting it together.
I was getting ready to say, I'll bet you, based on what I've heard so far, I'll bet you that was Emma's idea, and you just told me, yep, that's
she plans it. She puts it together. She says how much money we need, and take off. We gone.
So it started a few years before, right when we went back to school, and we had to clean the tables and sanitize the kids, and still everybody was getting sick. As I mentioned before, I'm visually impaired, and I'm thinking, oh my God, am I going to continue doing this under these rules? And then Florida education system started changing. And I was like, okay, Roland has never been to Europe. I'm going to start planning leaving in maybe 1 year, year and a half, 2. Let me start looking at what to do. And I started stashing my little cents. And that's how it actually started. And then one day I told him I'm not coming back after December. He was like, you're not going back? I was like, nope. And I took those 6 months to prepare the trip pretty much.
Now you say you hadn't been on was that your first time on Princess?
No, we had been on Princess before.
Oh, okay. You started in Barcelona. Talk about your flight over. That was uneventful.
Yeah, the flight was smooth. Food was good. We had all the seats are nice and big. It wasn't a packed flight, so we had room, space, no issues at all.
What airline?
Oh, I don't know the airline. I don't plan that, remember?
It was American Airlines.
Oh, okay.
So you started your vacation in Barcelona. I love Barcelona. I've been there, and I didn't get a feel for the city. I just did your typical touristy city tour. We stayed, I think, one night, an extra night, but you did 5 days? So talk about Barcelona. How'd you spend your time?
So before I say this, I had planned a week in Barcelona, but prior to our trip and our cruise, our 28 days, we went in March to MSC with the family, and we stopped in Barcelona. And Mr. here did not like Barcelona. He was like, oh no, this is not a good stop for me. I don't like it. So I had to change my whole arrangement of activities that I had. So what we did is we flew into Barcelona 6 nights before the cruise. We stayed there 1 night, and then we drove to Roses. We started in Roses, Spain, which is a little countryside city by water. Very nice. Had some really good food. Picked up a friend on the way.
Loved Roses.
Roses was a good.
And that's where we went to did the Dolly tour.
No,
right?
that was in Caracas.
Oh, Caracas.
We were staying in Roses, but we drove to Caracas.
Now let me interrupt. You had stopped in Barcelona prior to that on the MSC cruise. Roland, you didn't like what didn't you like?
I just didn't catch a Barcelona vibe. I mean, I don't think we drove into where things were happening in the city for me to see, but I just didn't like it.
I really think it was, we were on a tour with the family from the cruise, and the lady, and I always say they have a big role on whether people like the tour or not. She wasn't very happy.
Oh, the tour guide.
She wasn't very accommodating. And I don't think she took the best route. So it was like, we got there, we drove, we went to see the church. It's undone, it's finished. Okay, let's go. Let's get on the bus. So this one over here who likes to see the art and likes to see the people and the drinks and the food was like, I don't like this. So I told him, I said, maybe it was just a tour. You just had a bad experience.
So the second time, you say you started in a town called Roses. You like that?
I loved Roses. It's a beach town, so you can be across the street at a restaurant or a shop and walk across the street and you're at the beach.
So was that like a suburb of Barcelona or a neighboring town?
It's about 2 hours away from Barcelona.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
From there, we stayed 3 nights and we visited Caracas, where Salvador Dali lived with his wife. His house with the big eggs are there. We visited the sunflower farm. A lot of sunflowers.
Yeah, those things, I didn't know those things are really that big and heavy. You look at a sunflower on TV, it just looks like it's just flying in the wind, but those things are heavy. Yeah. We walked through the field bumping them in. It was pretty cool.
Then we returned to Barcelona 3 days later and dropped off our friend at the airport. And we went to, where did we go?
You got me.
Look at your little handy list.
It's not on here.
Goodness, Roland.
You tell me.
Where do we go, Roland?
I don't remember. After Roses. I don't know.
We went to Tarragona. Tarragona, Spain.
What was it called?
With a T, Tarragona.
Okay.
Tarragona, yeah.
The accent.
Yeah. And you can talk about it.
What we did, I remember.
Oh, gosh.
I don't remember these things.
So while we're there, we visited all of the, oh my God.
I have no
idea the name of them.
What is it, a house? Is it a museum?
Yeah, it was the museums of the Olympian time, the gladiators' times and all of those. You forgot that? The ancient towns, the cities.
Oh, the one we walked through? Oh, yeah. Walked through the ruins.
We went to a rice farm out there. We learned about rice.
Oh, yeah, we got lost at the rice farm.
Yeah, we got lost at the rice farm.
So did you go to Barcelona proper? Did you go into the city?
So after we finished Tarragona, we stayed in Barcelona, 1 night, 2 nights?
1 or 2 nights, yeah.
Actually, it was 2 nights, and we walked down to the Picasso Museum. You got me lost. It was a really nice walk. This time it was on our own. And so we took our time, we looked around. We found all these little streets and ups and downs and people, and it was really good. Much better experience.
Yeah.
So it was better rolling this time than it was when you stopped on that MSC cruise.
Much better. I think because we like to explore and see different things, it's best for us if we can kind of do it on our own. Maybe get someone from the city who's lives there and like give us a personal guide around. But it was better the second time. And
then you boarded Enchanted Princess, right?
Correct.
Now you said you had cruised Princess before. What ships had you cruised prior to that?
Caribbean Princess, definitely twice. And we had done Enchanted Princess once, or your Emerald Princess, one of the two, one of the E princesses, with a couple friends of ours, the same friend that went with us.
Majestic Princess.
And Majestic Princess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we had gone on a few princess cruises.
The Caribbean Princess was my favorite.
Give us an overview of Enchanted Princess. Talk about some of the highlights of the cruise, food, shows, activities.
Another beautiful ship. Shows are good. Food was good. I think our favorite thing about all the princess ships we've been on is the beds.
Huh,
The
they're very
beds and the
comfortable.
pillows are the most comfortable we've ever been
I'd see.
on any cruise line.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that was nice. We do love the room service.
Right.
Room service is nice. In general, most of the staff they want to be there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we always seem to meet people on these ships that we stay in touch with long after we stop cruising with them. We haven't seen them in a couple of years, but we're Facebook friends or we message through WhatsApp, send pictures back and forth. So
I have to say this, Princess for me has been one of the only cruise lines that go beyond what is expected of a cruise line to make sure that the cruiser is happy. And I say this for different reasons. When we went on the Caribbean first, it's the first time, if you go to a Royal Caribbean DJ and you ask for, a song, they may give you a little attitude. Here in Princess, they gave him the whole set and say, "You're a DJ? Here, DJ for a few minutes." Like literally, my daughter.
Before you continue, because I DJ on every ship I go on, I go to the club. I'm not a dancer. I'll go to the club and sit down, and I'll try to go and meet the DJ and talk to the DJ, get a vibe. And probably 95% of the DJs I met on all the cruise ships, we still stay in touch. We still share. We still share music back and forth. And on the Caribbean Princess, DJ Kev out of New York is the one. I would go hang out in the DJ booth. He was like, "Man, I'll be back. Take over for me." So he let me DJ for a little while. Yeah. No other ship have done that.
No.
And I have all the same equipment they have, so it's not like I don't know what I'm doing. So
I said in the introduction that you are a professional DJ and that you long to DJ on a ship someday. Well, you already have.
Yeah, that was just a little part time. I would like to get like a 3 to 6 month contract and see how that works out.
In that
have you tried?
Not yet. I have to retire from teaching, which probably in 25, and then we'll see if she'll let me.
We'll see.
Well, I'll tell you, these things that you're saying, the positive attributes of Princess Cruises, I'm real excited about. I'm one of those. I cruise on different lines. I'm not like loyal to a single line, but I'm kind of sheepish to admit that I've never been on Princess. So I am booked. I'm booked on the new Sun Princess, but it's not until early 25. So, but I'm loving what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in that same line, my daughter, we took the girls on a Princess. Now they're, at the beginning they were a little shocked because the age group of Princess is a little older, maybe 50s and above, medium 50s. And at the beginning they were like, this is an old people cruise. And I was like, no, it's seasoned people cruise. Now they love it. They don't want to do anything but Princess. But my daughter wanted to sing. And the cruise director was like, "You want to sing? I'll let you sing." And he actually let her sing on stage. So, they actually do go above and beyond in the restaurants. Everywhere you go, if you express what you're looking for, what you want, and they can accommodate it, it's amazing.
So is your daughter a singer?
Well, she has a beautiful voice, and she sings, and she has been in Carmen, the opera show. And, then some naysayers said she's never going to make it, and she stopped. But she likes to, sing and do her little thing.
Didn't she just sing on the cruise y'all just got off of?
I just did a Princess with her in Europe, in London, 2 weeks ago, and she won Voice of the Ocean.
Oh, wow. Take us through the highlights of the port stops. It was a wonderful itinerary, and I will include the itinerary with the show notes to this episode. And it was very port intensive.
Yes.
Very port intensive.
Look, that was a good thing.
Take us through some of the highlights.
Well, it started in Barcelona, of course. First stop was Gibraltar. So what I loved about being in Gibraltar is how close we were to Africa. From where the ship was docked, looking straight ahead, you can see Morocco. To the left is where Gibraltar was, and to the right was Spain. So I thought that was pretty cool. But Gibraltar itself was really nice.
That's good to hear. That Gibraltar is a stop
Yeah.
on the Princess Cruise that
Yeah.
I booked.
If you do a tour, take your time. Visiting the stores in the city, the streets. It's very nice, very nice.
A lot of good deals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
After that, it was Marseille. We had been to Marseille before, so what did we do anything?
The first time we went to Marseille, we went up to the church to see the Quasimodos. I always put it with the Quasimodo movie, the famous
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was really beautiful up there.
Tell you what, the European cruise, you're gonna get churched out fast because this church is everywhere.
Oh, I know. We went to the we did a med cruise in October, and in fact we stopped at Marseille. In Marseille, we sort of had a tour director similar to that one that you mentioned earlier. I think part of it was it also was rainy, and the tour director, she didn't have a mic, and she was soft spoken, and I think we actually left the tour group, left the tour and just started walking on our own.
It's funny you say that. The second time we went to Marseille, because our tour stopped twice, we paid a taxi when we went to town. I went and booked a little cruise tour from the town. And then we went to the Major, the other church down there, and we walked the little towns and saw all the graffiti. Marseille, there's a lot more to Marseille than the tourists tell you. It was actually real beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Where'd you go next?
Genoa, Italy.
Not a port that I really enjoyed, but I have to say it's a great place if you want to go to Portofino. It's near, so a lot of people just get off the boat, grab a taxi, and go to Portofino. But Genoa itself for us wasn't. It was just a port.
Yeah, just a port.
Yeah.
Next stop was Livorno, which is Florence and Pisa, and that's where we went to Pisa, right?
Yeah.
To see the Leaning Tower.
One of my bucket lists. Yes.
It's checked off.
Checked off. Beautiful.
I enjoyed that. Seeing the Leaning Tower.
Funny story about that is we had backpacks and we were going to try to walk into the tower.
Go up.
But you can't go up in it if you have a backpack.
Oh, okay.
And we didn't want to leave our backpack anywhere.
Well, we were on a tour, so we were also on time
crunch.
We had tickets. Somebody gave us
free tickets.
A couple was like, "You guys want to go because we have to leave." And Sir here had a big backpack, so we couldn't go up. But it was beautiful.
Next, it was Rome. We did Rome.
Yeah, we actually, this time we walked Città Vecchia, and we met a nice couple out there. Nice couple who he already forgot.
Città Vecchia.
It was really nice. That little town there is really nice. But again, Città Vecchia is also another one of those ports that they stop so that people can explore Rome if they haven't been there before.
So did you get a chance to go into Rome proper from there?
So when we went in March, we flew into Rome and we stayed in Rome 4 days after the cruise. So we had already done that.
Yeah.
I loved Rome. There was so much to see. Rome had a very impressive, or not Rome, but Italy had a very impressive train system.
Yes.
We had stayed some time in Italy prior to getting on the cruise. We ended up taking a train to Venice and taking a train to Florence. So we went a lot of places. Our hotel was somewhere in a rural, in the country, but you could easily get around with the train system. So if I ever go, if I ever spend time in Rome and I'm cruising to, the name of it, I'm going to make sure that I pack lighter and we're able to, because we rented a car. We were sort of like in countryside of Florence, and we rented a car to drive to Rome to stay in a hotel there. If I knew what I know now, I would have relied on train transportation the whole way. I would never have rented a car.
Yeah. It's a learning curve. Yep.
My excuse to go back.
Yeah,
there you go. My excuse is it never happened. So I don't.
Yeah, right. So our next stop was Naples. Did we do anything in Naples?
We did. Oh my God. We went to the beach. That's where we saw the little jellyfish with the little girl naked girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice stop as well.
In Naples.
When we went to Naples, we had already seen a couple of historic sites. And Sir, because we had been in Barcelona doing historic sites, was already like, I'm kind of churched out, museum out. So I was like, let's find a beach. So we went to the beach and, we spent the afternoon there. It was a tour from Princess Cruises. And it was the water was amazing. And then we had some really good food with that young lady at the restaurant.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that food was so amazing, so tasty.
This was in Naples.
In Naples, yeah. Napoleone was the place of the beach.
So after Naples, we hit Greece, Crete, Greece.
Yeah.
I love Greece.
Greece was amazing. Greece, truly amazing, truly beautiful, very different. They're all different, but the views in Greece were just like the pictures you see. The domes in Santorini and the streets in Athens. And
the people were super nice in Greece.
Very nice.
We went into a shop and the guy who runs the shop had on a pin, a lapel pin. I was like, man, that's a really nice lapel pin. He was like, here you go, you can have it. Is it that easy? Okay. Well, thank you. Then we ended up buying something after that. But we did Crete, we did Mykonos, we did Athens, we did Santorini, and Corfu.
What were your highlights of the Greek islands? Which was your favorite?
Oh, you know what? Let me say this. Everybody loves to go to Santorini. Santorini is beautiful, don't get me wrong. But Mykonos is just as beautiful, but so homey. It was just like the water, the beaches were nice. Everything was perfect. It was like picture perfect. Mykonos was really nice.
And they have Mykonos or Santorini, and then people are talking about how everybody comes here. It was like, if you ever come back to Greece, check out these other islands that are less inhabited, but just as nice or nicer.
Yeah. Corfu was beautiful as well. Corfu was a smaller island, but just as picturesque. But, you have that homey feeling. It's very clean.
Yeah.
The flowers are so beautiful. It was just amazing.
All the islands, when I see pictures of Santorini, I see all these white and blue buildings. Does that theme carry over throughout the islands, or is that a Santorini?
No, actually, thing? In most of them, they had the white buildings. Actually, they're not painted. It's just a rock. After it's oxidized, it turns white. We learned that. The domes, the blue domes, the dark blue domes are native of Santorini. But in the other, like Mykonos had like a light blue and a light red dome. Just a different colored dome. But yeah, most of the villages are in that color.
I heard that one not complaint, well, it depends on who was saying it, but I heard there's an awful lot of walking.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Santorini, everybody wants to go to Santorini. Those blue domes are very appealing. And if you see the houses on the hill, but you got to go up the hill and you got to come down the hill.
It's steps.
And the stairs.
It's tiny passageways, cobblestone streets,
slippery.
We did witness a lot of people falling.
It was a little rainy, misty.
Yeah.
Wow.
But nevertheless, it was beautiful. It was nice. I'm not knocking Santorini down. I loved Santorini. I will go back. However, it was not my favorite Greek island.
Now this is for you, Emma. I recently did a podcast episode. And it was a woman who had gone on, it was a Virgin Voyages cruise. It was called The Greek Island Glow. But I subtitled the episode, The Dress, because apparently it is a thing where you go to Santorini and you get this huge red flowing
flying dress.
You know what I'm talking about? Dress.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you do that?
I did not. I did not. Well, first of all, I have to say the addition of the second leg of the cruise was a last minute thing. I couldn't beat the
Mm-hmm.
price. And the other thing was they're pretty, but I would have lost my whole day in that, so I didn't do it.
It's not what you're into.
Yeah.
And really, the person that I interviewed, it sounded like what's the corporate saying? The view's not worth the climb. It sounded like there was a lot of effort. And she's she has a big YouTube following, and it was really more for her channel.
Yeah.
But it sounded like it was a lot of effort and wasn't all that worth it. In fact, she was saying, she had to get into the dress, and there weren't no dressing rooms. She had to do that kind of out in public. But I've seen some beautiful pictures.
Yeah, they are beautiful. And like I said, Santorini is astonishingly beautiful. For the other islands, with less of the stairs and much less of the hassle,
less of the price,
less of the price as well. But we will go again. Don't get me wrong, we will go again.
So good. Name another highlight of the Greek islands.
The food, my goodness.
Pasta.
Pasta, it was great. It was. I'm probably some Italians will get mad at me, but I had some of the best pasta was not in Italy. So we had an amazing pasta in Greece, but we had an amazing pasta in Malta. So we have to go back to Malta. It was beautiful.
Now, let me ask you, did the ship, sometimes ships will have they'll try to do local delicacies, that match the itinerary. Did the ship do anything like that?
They did. In the main dining room, they always did. And also in the buffet, they will have some of the foods from every, the ports. We made sure to have lunch outside.
What was next?
Turkey. Kusadasi and Istanbul. Love Turkey as well.
What was the first place that you mentioned?
Kusadasi.
So the cruise that I'm going on is stopping in Istanbul, but not in. I'm not going to try to pronounce the other place that you mentioned.
Okay, so
how was Turkey?
Oh, beautiful.
We love Turkey as well.
We did. So Kusadasi is walkable. Like you get off. I'm just gonna mention Kusadasi because it was really nice. You get off the ship and you walk in all the shops and all the stores. I've never seen such a large shopping and varied area.
It was like a maze of shops and stores, and you can get lost in there.
But we also got a lot of education as well, a lot of appreciation for their rugs. What they sell here in the U.S. is crap. And their teas and their spices, because it's there. Istanbul, I will recommend you do a tour, definitely, because you're in the border of.
I don't know.
I see her looking at you, Roland. You get ready to fail a test.
I already done failed it. I got a C right now. I'm about to have an F.
It's a very large city, so do a tour in Istanbul.
What is it bordering? Okay, don't tell me. Oh, Syria.
Yeah.
Syria.
Oh, okay.
It's right there where it's in the, right there in the borders of two different countries.
When I think of Istanbul, I think of like New York City. Is it big and busy
yes.
That's why I say it's best to take a tour.
Yeah, definitely got to have a tour.
It's big and busy.
Okay.
They have two huge bridges that connect Istanbul to the other two countries. It's very, very congested.
Now, what did you eat in Turkey? What was the delicacy?
In Turkey, we had the tea. We tried the tea. We tried the pastries, and we had his beer.
Yeah, I always get a local beer wherever I go, just to see what their beer tastes like. So I don't think we ate any food there.
No, we didn't eat
not in Kusadasi, no. So after Kusadasi in Istanbul, we hit Mykonos and Athens, and that was the end of the first leg. Yep, and then we got right back on the ship and head to Santorini again.
Then we started our next 14 days. Essentially
did like a back-to-back.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's how I'm doing it. The first half is mainly Italy stuff. That was the Naples and the Genoa. Sounds very similar to your cruise.
Yeah.
And the second half, although it's not 28 days, the second leg of the back-to-back is all the Greek islands and Istanbul. I can't say it right. Can't talk today, but
Istanbul.
Okay, so after Santorini, we hit a place that we liked and we didn't like, which is Kotor, Montenegro.
Where do I start?
Well, first, before you start, Montenegro is beautiful.
Oh, beautiful.
The city is beautiful. It sits in a valley almost. It's water, town, mountains, and on the other side. What's on the other side of the mountain? Another country. What's the country name? I forgot. Not Syria, but it's one of those type of countries where they're always warring, but it's right over the mountain. But it was beautiful. The boat ride we took to the church that sits in the middle of the water.
Nothing.
Yeah, that was beautiful. The people were not necessarily the nicest. Not all of them, because the guy who was on the boat with us, who was from there, he was cool. He and I flicked through music again. He was playing music off his phone on the boat. So he saw me Shazamming a couple of songs. And then we just started chatting up. And he and I still talk. So
music is a universal language.
Yeah, man.
And you're making permanent connections with some. These folks can figure out you like music, and you're now linked to them.
Right.
Yes.
So tell them why you didn't like it.
I had a different experience in Montenegro. So Montenegro, if you don't know anything about it, Montenegro is a new country. They created the country in 1995, 1996. It's a fairly new country, and they don't like Americans. They have their reasons, of course, but they were very vocal about not wanting us there. So
educate me. You say they have their reasons. What's the reason?
Well, because when they were going through their separation from mainland, the U.S. always meddles, and they didn't like that, of course. So they were very vocal about it. They wouldn't let us use their bathrooms, even if you were a customer. And that for me was a
get out.
Yes.
You were just there. It was just a normal port stop, like to 5 or something like that.
Yeah, it was a normal port stop. We did the tour, and we came right back and got on the boat.
Well, we did walk a little, didn't we?
Well, we did maybe 10 minutes, but then we just got right back. We had to use the restroom, which I couldn't use on their country.
What country did they separate from?
Serbia.
Okay.
See, that's why I got you. Your memory is sharp.
I can't see, but I have sharp mind, right?
Yeah, that's why we work. So after, Montenegro, we hit Corfu, and that's where we did the tour.
Now, Corfu is another Greek island, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's where we went to the beach. Actually, and that's where we also found one of the singers and dancers of Princess Cruz and his family. And another reason why it's like they go above and beyond. When he was in the stage, he was like making signals, like looking for my daughter, like, where is she? But she wasn't there. She was in the room. So, I mean, she wasn't there at all that time. But they do remember you, boy. Telling you, Princess I haven't had a bad experience yet.
Well, after Corfu, we hit Sicily. I don't think we did much in Sicily.
What did we do in Sicily? We did something in Sicily. What did we do?
I don't remember, because I have pictures. We just walked. Oh, I met a guy, but it wasn't through music. It was through beer. Remember that? I remember the guy. Yeah, that guy there.
Yeah. I went and bought this notebook in Sicily because I needed to write notes. I don't know if you can see it. And we were walking through the shops and seeing the churches, which by the time we were there, this one again was like, I'm churched out. But we went in a place, I don't know if you have a chance. I like orange juice, fresh orange juice. In Italy has the best orange juice for me. So it was like, I want an orange juice. He wanted a beer, and we met that man, and he was like brother, like he knew him for 20 years.
Yeah. So after Sicily, we hit Barcelona.
We came back to Barcelona.
Did y'all even get off in Barcelona this time?
We did, but we walked on our own, and that's where we saw the Picasso Museum and did other things by ourselves.
Yeah, I think the second time all the second stops, we just got off on our own.
Yeah. If we repeated, what we tried to do was, I'm financial conscious. So if we repeated the place or the port, we either tried to do a tour if we were interested in it the first time, and the second time we explored on our own.
Sure.
So up next would have been Gibraltar. You didn't get off then, did you?
Yes, we did. That's where I left my dress.
Oh, yeah. Tell them about how you left your dress.
Yeah, we went shopping on our own, took a cab. It was like, what, $4 or €5. We went shopping, started walking, and I found myself a nice little dress for me to take pictures. On the way back, we get in the cab, and I set it down, and I left it right there.
Oh, wow.
So then he had to leave the ship to go find it.
To go look through all the cabs that pick everybody up to see if have anybody seen a bag left.
But he was looking for us already.
But that guy, when we got out and went on the ship, because I was on the ship, I had to leave the ship to go try to find her dress. But he said he tried to call us, but we would just move too fast. So he just had it in the cab. And probably about half an hour after I left the ship again, I went through all the cabs that came through. When I found him, he saw me and I saw him. He said, I tried to call you guys.
Oh, so
I ended up getting the dress.
So it's a happy ending then. You got it back. I thought that it was gone. So I was getting ready to ask you, did you think about it at all the rest of the cruise? I know I would have, but that's a happy ending.
I would have fixed that.
You got it. Okay.
We got it, yes.
So that was Gibraltar. Then we went back to Marseille, Genoa. I know what we did because by that time.
In Marseille, that's when we went and visited that old town and saw all the murals.
Oh, walking through, yeah.
Walking through the old
lot of artwork, graffiti all over the walls. And isn't that what we saw? The foreigners go home?
No, that was Genoa.
That was Genoa, yeah. Lots of artwork, lots of graffiti. It's like, it's okay. No one says anything about it.
Nope. All over the building.
And it's everywhere. As long as it's not on the church, it can be almost anywhere.
Well, the area is known for the local graffiti art. Mm-hmm. So all of those buildings, as you walk through the little streets and meanders, you see art. It's
Where was the ladies at?
That was Genoa.
That was Genoa, yeah.
That was Genoa. Spot. That was a spot for you.
So what was, some more.
So that was the last day before we went to Rome. And we finished the last stop before we finished our cruise. And we were supposed to be back on the ship at 8 p.m. So we were like, okay, we'll stay out till about 6. And as we're walking around, I start seeing ladies with, skirts and nice tights and heels. And I'm like, okay, there's one in this corner, there's one in the corner, there's another gentleman, and I'm seeing the pattern, and I tell my husband, I'm like, honey, I think we're in the wrong area. This is the ladies' area. And he was just looking and taking pictures of other stuff, and then he comes to one of the little alleys, because they were in the alleys, not in the main road, and he looks, he goes, oh, yeah, this is Bobby's town. This is my town.
My ladies was out.
They were out.
And what stop was that?
Genoa.
Okay.
And that was it. That was the end of our cruise. And then we went to Rome and we took our train. Actually, we went to Civitavecchia and we took the train to Rome and we spent 3 nights in Rome.
What you do in Rome?
City. Went to Vatican City again because in March it was really, really full. Mm-hmm. The Pope was going to speak that day, so it was ridiculous. So we went this time and it was pretty much empty, and we got closer and did that. And then we ate a lot, actually. That's what we did. We ate a lot.
Did you go to the Colosseum?
We did that in March before.
Talk about what sounds like a pretty special cruise you're about to leave on.
What, you mean tomorrow?
Yeah.
Well, that's actually not a cruise.
It's a land.
We're just flying.
It's a land trip. Okay.
Yeah. Our next cruise is not until December.
There's some new ships coming out. Anything you got your eyes on that you really want to try?
So you mentioned the Sun Princess. I have my eyes on the Sun Princess. And Royal Caribbean is coming up with, or they came already out with Icon of the Seas. Looking at that one.
And we're booked on the Wonder Seas.
We're booked on Wonders. We're going on Wonders in February. But Icon of the Seas is calling my name and saying, Emma, come see me.
Early cruises for Icon were just outrageously high. So I just said I'll wait. But I do have a show coming up I don't remember the date, late January, maybe early February, where someone's going to be on the inaugural of Icon. And so they're going to come and give us a trip, sort of like what you're doing now, give us a trip report. And on the Sun Princess, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised the way it sounds. I wouldn't be surprised if you all are on there before me because, as I said, my Sun Princess cruise is not until early 25. They got some 24 cruises that are calling my name, but this 25 cruise, I wanted that itinerary. That's because I wanted the Greek islands. So
Right.
So let's talk about the future. What do you have booked?
So, you want the list?
Well, I have the app, so I don't know if I'm missing any, but I have the Carnival Celebration in December, Allure of the Seas in January,
Right.
Wonder of the Seas February, Discovery Princess in March, Sky Princess in June. Well, it's two because it's a back-to-back in
It's
that
another
one.
month.
Yeah, another month cruise in June. Oasis in June, at the end of June, and Celebrity in November.
Wow. Now let me ask you a question. Are you guys adopting?
We get that all the time. That and like, what do you do for a living? Do you work? If y'all hit the lottery and ain't tell nobody?
With all of the cruises that you guys have booked, I know we're going to want to have you back because I'd love to just hear your trip report. So you got a lot of cruises booked. So let me ask you, what's on your cruise and travel? It could be land trip. What's on your cruise and travel bucket list?
So I had Brazil on my bucket list because of Iguazu Falls. I don't know if there's 3 largest falls in the world. Niagara, which was the third, we already went. Iguazu is the second one, and then Africa is the first one, which I'm hoping to hit in 2025. So that was on the bucket list, and we want to go to Thailand, Vietnam, and that's why I booked that Celebrity cruise because it was a great deal to go to those places. I'm hoping that nothing changes for that cruise. We are going back to Spain. We're doing a month travel, well, actually almost 2 months travel in Spain again, but it's because we're going to the new region for Jaws, which I don't know if you know, they don't want cruising anymore in their areas because of what's doing to the environment. They only want certain types of cruises. So I wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to get it done. So that's what we're up to.
Have you all ever been on a river cruise?
No, that would be when our kids finish college. I don't think I can get a sail on that one.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list. That's one we'll check off in 24. We're booked on a river cruise in August.
Then you should tell us about that one. It is on the bucket list, but we just haven't gotten there.
Yeah, we're going on one. It's real interesting because it's called Soulful Epicurean.
I heard about that.
Yeah, it starts with like a 7-day river cruise, and then we take a train into Paris. It's a 7-day river cruise, obviously in France, and then we take a train into Paris and do a 3-day. It's kind of a Black History tour for 3 days because obviously, as you know, a lot of scholars and athletes and statesmen and whatever moved to Paris. Of course, you've heard of Josephine Baker, so that's going to be really nice. But yeah, that's
really
all.
nice.
So.
We're gonna have to cruise together one of these times.
Yeah, we need to plan something. We love cruising with people.
Well, do you have anything booked for August of 24?
What do we have?
Nothing for August in here.
August for 24.
Let me send you the information about this river cruise because it's unbelievable. So before we let you go, a couple of fun cruise questions, perhaps a fun oddball question, oddball in that it doesn't necessarily relate to cruising. So the first question, this is just so I can get some ideas, what's your favorite cruise drink and cruise food?
For me, the favorite drink is the Miami Vice. If I would do a frozen drink, other than that, it's usually a beer. I mean, Nothing special.
I'm not a big drinker, but I do
What-
love Moscato. So Moscato on Princess because they have the best. For me, they have the really good Moscato.
Well, Roland, we have something in common because when someone asks me my favorite cruise drink, it's Miami Vice.
Gotcha.
So,
Mm,
what about food?
lobster.
Yeah, I'm a seafood person, so we always got to hit the place where the seafood
Lobster,
is.
I have lobster in common with them, but that would be my first choice. It sounds like you like
Oh
it
yeah,
too,
yeah,
Roland.
definitely.
Second question: what's your most memorable, funniest, outlandish, or even most embarrassing cruise or port experience?
I have one of those, and it happened just recently. As I mentioned, I'm visually impaired, so I put signs on the door so that I can identify our cabin easily. And this was the last night, so we had taken the sign down, and I am looking at the rooms, getting really close, and I get really close to this door, and the lady opens the door, and she was completely naked. And she thought it was her husband, and I'm like, "Please." Like, I told my husband to come to 5 minutes.
I don't think you can beat that one.
No.
Though. Well, you
No.
could beat it if it was you at the door.
No,
that would beat it. But
I have a couple interesting ones. One is we was on the Holland cruise, the Holland cruise, and the median age was like what 70. So we were
Holland American Lines.
So we were in was it a club? Or was it just
we were like in a little club dancing? Yeah,
just a club, and the old ladies were hawking me. They was on me. They was asking her.
Like, one lady sat next to me and goes, "Is that your husband, honey?" And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." He's like, "He's hot." You did a good job. And I'm like, "Okay, thank you."
Yeah, the other one would be the only cruise that my dad ever took is when we did our first family cruise. Now, the only time because he's not into that, but we got him to go. And he passed away 3 years ago, so he can't go on anymore. But he did get that one. I got a good picture of her and him on the deck, just sitting, chilling, and talking.
That's a great story. Finally, the oddball question. So I know, you have a social media following, and let me welcome any fans and family and friends who are listening. And I certainly hope that friends and fans of Roland and Emma like what they hear and will come back to hear some other podcasts. Say one thing that my listeners and your fans and friends and family don't know about Emma and Roland.
They don't know?
That they don't know. I'm very open. I'm very it's a hard one.
Well, she's open. I'm more reserved and quiet. So maybe my family don't know that when I retire, I'm gonna start an OnlyFans channel.
Now, I saw, to the listeners, Roland and I are Facebook friends, and I saw someone made a post about making, I think it was $1 million in 6 months.
Yes.
And Roland responded, "I'm going to start an OnlyFans account."
You know what? But seriously, I mean, our family know that we love adventure. So one of our plans on this Brazil trip is to paraglide, hang glide from the
Monte Cristo,
Monte Cristo, the statue. And they're like, they think we are nuts.
Yeah.
Hang gliding, paraglide, yes.
Yes, we'll do.
Please send me some photos. Roland and Emma, thank you so much for coming on the Joy of Cruising podcast, and all the best to you in your pursuit of your future goals. We're going to have you back if you'll be back. With all of the cruises you're taking, I don't know which cruise I want to pencil you in, but we'll talk about that offline. You guys have a great time. You leave tomorrow. Enjoy. Safe travels and happy travel.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
As they say, I'll see you on the ocean.
Yes,
sir.
Yes, sir.
The Joy of Cruising and Cruising Interrupted, each $16.99 plus shipping, and new release, The Joy of Cruising Again for $18.99 can be ordered at the link on thejoyofcruisingpodcast.com. For each of the 3 books, use the discount code Joy of Cruising Podcast and get $4 off. The Joy of Cruising books are also available at Amazon. Order the ebook at Amazon or your favorite online retailer. Stay in touch by joining the Joy of Cruising Podcast Facebook group or following the Joy of Cruising Podcast on Instagram. We're constantly adding new shows. Please leave a review and tell a friend about us. We hope you enjoyed this brief escape to the ocean. See you next week.